Hello, Queens. Welcome back to YGU Yes Girl University, where we say yes to ourselves, yes to love, yes to our peace, and yes to our healing. Before we move forward, I invite you to like, share, and please subscribe, follow, leave me some comments, let me know what you think, and let's jump right into it. So this is part 2. Last week, I had my husband join me, and because I had him come on because I'm kind of going through these different stages in life with these videos. And couple weeks ago, my best friend came on. We talked about our teen years and getting through those. Well, when I turned 18, I met my husband. So it was only natural to just bring him into this next segment. So our last conversation, I think it was pretty good. It was pretty good. We share our story to how we met and just got a lot of bit into how marriage itself has been throughout these years and whatnot. But we're going to backtrack a little bit because not only are we husband and wife, but we're also parents. We have 5 children, but then we have what they call themselves as the cotton extended. And that could be like, put us at like 25 kids, it seems like sometimes, which is funny, but we got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
In our lives, period. So let's backtrack. We met at 18.
Right.
By the time we were married, we got 20. We were 20.
Yeah.
And soon after we got married, we discussed starting a family. Probably right after. Because I always knew that I wanted to have children. I always knew that I wanted to be a mom. Did you always know you wanted to be a dad?
Not right away.
When did you discover that you wanted to be a dad?
I think it was when my sister's daughter Jasmine was maybe a couple years old, and I was like, man, okay, I can babysit. You know, I'm good with kids. You know, I'd have fun with them and stuff like that. So I wonder what it'd be like if I had my own. One of my own. Yeah,
I always wanted a lot of kids.
Yep, I didn't want no more than 2. We had talked about that before because we was like, how big do you want your family? You said you wanted 10.
Yeah, I said I wanted 10 kids.
And I said I wanted 2.
Crazy talk, right?
And that's when we was like, well, you know what? Let's just meet each other in the middle and just go for 4 or 5. And
I mean, we have 5.
He heard our prayer. He heard us say it.
So don't jump too far ahead. So when you discovered that you wanted to be a dad, why did you think you wanted to be a dad? Just because you had your niece around and they just put the thought in your head?
Because I felt that I could be a good father to a child that needed to be helped, guided, and stuff, and teach them things and do things with them that that I wanted. Something.
So for me, I was 11 years old when I knew I wanted to be a mom. I was 11. I just knew it. Like, I never thought about marriage, but I always knew I wanted to be a mom. I didn't care how. I didn't care. For a while, I didn't care who the baby daddy. I just wanted to have a baby. And I can say it was definitely for all the wrong reasons. I wanted somebody to love. I wanted somebody to love me. I wanted to prove that I could be better than my mom was. So it was all the wrong reasons for wanting to be a parent. But I always wanted to be a parent. So I had to kind of work through some things to really, if you bring in children into the world, I mean, they're going to need a lot, a lot of love and a lot of guidance. That's not selfish. You're just giving, not putting the responsibility on them to love me, not putting the responsibility on them to give me purpose. Like I had to learn that over time. And at the time when, after we got married, we had already had our first godchild was born. Our first godchild was born. But part of that, we had little cousins that we would, spend some time with or whatever. So we started this, let's get pregnant thing, let's get pregnant thing. I don't
That's
know
pretty
why I
much
said
that's
that like
pretty
that.
much how it
Let's
came
just
out.
go for it, right?
That's pretty much
you
how
know,
it came out. So
we're trying and we're trying and we're trying and nothing's happening. And so I think after some time, maybe like a year, we was like, well, let's just go and see if something's up. So I will say in that time, from the time we met to the time we started trying to have a family, I had put on a lot of weight. And that's another reason why I didn't gain all this weight and you still want to stay. Like, another conversation. But anyways, he stayed. So when we went to get, diagnostics and checked and see, if there's something going on with me or something going on with you, as far as why it's not just happening, I automatically assumed it was my weight. They're just going to tell me it's my weight. I was like, I don't even want to go because I already know what they're going to say, but I needed to know because now I'm like, I'm wanting this so bad and it's not happening. So we go and I can't remember all the details of the test or whatever. But there was, I don't know if there's anything ever determined. I was never told that I could never have kids. We were never told that.
Right.
Like, you checked out okay. I know with me, there was an issue with my progesterone levels, meaning if I did get pregnant, I wasn't producing enough progesterone to hold a baby. That's the only thing that I remember. Like I said, it's been so much and so long. I don't remember all the details, but we started treatments. We started with medication at first. And so my thought is, oh man, this is going to work. I'm all excited. Within a couple months, I'm going to be pregnant. So a few months go by. My period's 2 weeks late, 1 month. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. We call the clinic. They bring us in to do a pregnancy test, and no, it's a no. My period actually came that next day. I was so devastated. So after a few months, we were going, they started some injections at that point too. So we were going, once a month or twice a month?
Twice a month. Something
like that for injections, ultrasounds, stuff like that. And so now I'm again, I'm all geeked. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm like, it's going to happen. Months go by and nothing. But we didn't give up. We kept going.
Yeah.
So when they said something about the progesterone being low, then now we're adding progesterone suppositories. So now we're doing the medication, we're doing the injections, and now we're doing suppositories. So now it's becoming a little bit of a production at this point. And just, of course, to get pregnant, you have to have sex, but now sex is it's becoming this chore versus just something a husband and wife does. So now that's being affected, but we can't get pregnant. All this is for nothing if we're not having sex. So it's now we're forcing. So this is really starting to touch our relationship. Really.
It get nerve-wracking. Well, I can't even say nerve-wracking. It was just really, really frustrating.
And tiresome.
Yeah,
it was
doing
getting
everything
tiresome.
we can to...
And it's not happening.
Yeah.
And so now I'm questioning myself as a woman. I'm already dealing with all these insecurity issues, whatever. Now I'm like, well, Lord, women were created to bring forth life. And what kind of woman am I? If I can't just do that naturally, I'll never be able to give my husband children. I'm having all of this go through my head while I'm still dealing with all of this over here and all of this over here. So now this is sitting on my chest now too. And every month that went by, it was just complete devastation. And it just got worse and worse the longer we went. So I think after a year,
we just
we stopped the treatment. Mm-hmm. And it was just now mind you, in this time, there are babies being born all around us. Everybody's getting pregnant. Everybody's having babies. I'm throwing baby showers. I'm holding hands while people are giving birth. It's so much going on within I wouldn't say just a year, but of course years to follow. Within 3 years, it was just babies, baby showers, babies. And we're present for all of this, and we're happy. I'm genuinely happy for everybody every time they come to tell me they were pregnant, and I was genuinely excited. But of course, when I get alone, it's but God, why not me? I would have these breakdowns, and I remember it got to the point where I was actually having breakdowns.
Right.
I know, but just actually having breakdowns. Just remembering that part of my life where I'm having these panic attacks where I can't breathe, and I think we called 911 a few times, and just like losing it, because why isn't this happening for me? And I'm the one who wants to have kids. It's like everybody else around me was like always unexpected or tears, like I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm just like, you know, it's okay. I'm here for you. We'll figure it out. But it's not happening for me, so I have to process this on my own and in my own time by myself. But it got rough for a while, but we never stopped trying or having the idea that it would happen. I don't know. I really don't know what that whole time was really, really like for you, because I felt like I made it a lot about myself.
It was hard. It was a little frustrating because, you know, not only I was having my feelings and, you know, doubts of me not being able to give you or give us what we wanted as far as, you know, having given birth or, you know, giving, you know, how you say
getting pregnant, having children.
Yeah, so, you know, I was like, man, okay, am I even functional? Do I supposed to be a father? Do I supposed to be a dad? Is this, like, is it going to happen? Or
but during
where do I fit in? You know.
But what about those times when I was having those breakdowns? Like, it was bad. Like, I got to a really depressed state to where
I felt bad about it, because I was like, man, you know, she doing all she can, or she doing what she doing to go through this for us. And for you to, you know, break down, have your panic attacks.
Do you remember when the first time it happened? What was going through your head when I had that very first panic attack? Because it just came out of nowhere.
Like, what is going on? What happening? What's going on? What's happening? What?
Because it was almost like I didn't recognize you. You remember that? It was almost like I didn't recognize you.
Yeah.
I think I was literally in the closet screaming.
Yeah. And I'm trying to calm you down, trying to talk to you. And you was like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. And you just didn't want me to touch you at all. Like, it was like you literally just bunkered down and just didn't budge. You scared the heck out of me.
Sure, I was scared too. But yeah, it was rough, and it's one of those times that I don't think about a lot. I use it a lot when I start to feel myself getting overwhelmed. I use that time of my life a lot because at one point I was placed on antidepressants, and I had a problem with that because I didn't want to feel like I wasn't strong. And I remember the very first antidepressant that I was put on, I slept for like 2 days. I remember like laying down and getting up, and you're like, it's this day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, because you got off of those real quick.
But then I went back 3 times, and they tried 3 different medications. The second one, it made me yawn a lot, and when I yawned, my insides felt like they would quiver. So it was just like the weirdest feeling. Like, no, I can't be feeling like this. So It was just a side effect. And then by the third one I was prescribed, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't cry. I couldn't laugh.
It's like it was totally stripped you from your emotions.
Everything. I couldn't deal with that because at that time my brother passed. It was sometime after that. But that was the third one. But I'm like, I gotta be able to feel something because I'm a human being. Mm-hmm. So I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna have to find a way to deal with this myself. And sometime after that, my brother had passed. Mm-hmm. And I had another attack. It had been a while since I had one. And I remember my mom trying to give me her pills and shove them down my mouth. And I'm screaming like, no, let me have this. Let me have this. My brother just died. Just leave me alone. I even remember her calling my doctor and the doctor telling my mom to give me her pill. And I'm like, you're a doctor. You're not supposed to tell her to give me a pill that's not, prescribed to me. No, I'm not doing. I'm like, do you guys not understand?
I remember that.
My brother just died. Let me have this. Let me feel this. Like, who does that? And that's one reason why I'm like, I'm not into, the taking pills and even drowning myself, and I can't do that. I have to be able to feel whether it's good or bad,
right?
And it just helps me to just continue to strive for my own personal strength to just be able to endure, because this is life. We're going to have these moments and we need to just experience them so we can get through them. But I recognized that a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But anyway, before all that, even I jumped a little bit. So we stopped the fertility treatments. Mm-hmm. And we just was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And of course, it was something that still weighed on me every day. But we were in our apartment. I remember praying about it. I remember telling God, if it's not your will, God, then I will find a way to accept it. I remember having that prayer. Mm-hmm. And we were laying in the bed. I think you were still asleep. That's when we would still get the penny saver. Do they still have the penny saver?
I don't think so.
Y'all remember the penny saver? But we would still get the penny saver. And I would always look at the classifieds. And there was this ad. It was the smallest ad, but it just like jumped off the page. And it was the only thing I could see every time I looked down at the paper. And it was a ad for becoming a foster parent. Mm. It was an ad for becoming a foster parent.
Right.
And so from there, what did we do? We talked about it. Yeah.
We really gave it some thought. And we was like, if it's not going this way for us, why not? They'll give us a chance to get some parenting in, to
be parents.
Parents until either they get moved to a new home or go back to the home that they was at. Which once we got our kids, they was not going nowhere.
So we ended up calling and taking the classes.
We took the classes, we took the CPR, first aid training, we did the home studies,
which they come in and they ask you all these questions about your life, and they go through your house to see what the atmosphere and the space you have, and they ask you, certain behaviors or what type of children you want, it's just a bunch of stuff so they can make the best match possible or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just to see if you're, need to be having kids. But it was pretty seamless. Yeah. It was pretty seamless by the time we got licensed.
Yeah.
Sometime after that, we had met a young lady who was pregnant, and she wanted us to adopt her baby. So we were like, oh my God, it's going to be an infant. Of course. So we built a relationship with this young lady. And she really became special to me, just herself, not just because she was pregnant and I was potentially going to be adopting her child, but I really took her into my heart. And at the same time, we get a call from the county about a little boy.
Right. Yeah.
And so we were like, okay. But we ended up having a conversation. I think we started meeting the little boy, right? Did we start visiting him?
Yep.
Okay. So at some point we had a conversation with the caseworker and said, well, hey, we're definitely interested. I think he was 5 at the time, but then we have this young lady who wants us to adopt the baby. And they're like, well, that's probably going to be too much. So we'll just withdraw your name from this little boy and you guys pursue that. Well, that fell through.
Yep.
That fell through.
Mm-hmm.
So we called the county back and said, hey, that fell through. We're still interested in this little boy. And we were told that a family had already been chosen. Now, he wasn't for foster care. He was strictly for foster to adopt. Like, the goal was to adopt him. Mm-hmm. And so then they tell us, well, a family was chosen. I'm like, oh, my gosh. It's just not meant either way. Right. That fell through. This fell through. I'm not even thinking, well, Annie, there'll be more children. I'm just like taking it as a sign, like it's just not meant for us. It's just not meant to happen. So
it was scary. It was nerve wracking too, because I kind of felt like you did. It's like, man, is this ever going to happen? Are we ever going to have someone or to call our child?
Our own, yeah. Well, we get a phone call and they say, well, hey, guess what? This young boy is still available. That situation fell through, but we want to choose a family. I think it was like the next day. Mm-hmm. They were going to take it back to the committee or whatever. And they're like, we need you guys to come in right now. So we're like, okay, we got to go.
We get there. We walk in. We look. That boy had you all over him.
Okay, but you would. I was expecting to say, they looked. They were staring at me.
I do take that back.
From the time we walked in that room to the time I sat in my seat, and it was like this awkward silence. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, is there something on my face? Like, what is going on? And so after this awkward silence, did they show us the picture first? Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, oh, that's why. Because he looked like me. Mm-hmm. It's the forehead. I got a big forehead. He just favored me so much. And it was so funny because I'm like, this is our kid. Like, I knew it. Once I saw his picture, this is our kid.
It was him.
And so the first time we met him, I think it was at a McDonald's. We had got there first.
And we was in there waiting. And then when we seen him walk in, and all I could do was like, wow, he do look like you.
And he was like this big. He was 5. He couldn't even see over the counter. And he had this tiny, tiny, tiny little voice. So we were just there at first to just observe, which was kind of weird. We're at a McDonald's. We were sitting in a playroom just watching a kid play. It was kind of weird, but
yeah, that did feel kind of weird. I felt like I was.
it was just awkward.
It was awkward.
But then by the end of that, she brought him over and we introduced, and she was like, well, these are my friends, such and so, and you think you might want to spend a little time with them, get to know them, whatever. I don't remember how it went, but from then we started our visitations, and then he started getting to come home, and eventually he ended up home. Mm-hmm. And by his next birthday, I think it was like a day after his birthday or something like that.
Yep.
That adoption was finalized. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, when we mentioned our first video, we did have a moment where when he left for like 3 months, that child was with us at that time.
Yeah.
And we always say, if we didn't have him, I don't know if we would have got back together. We don't know. I don't know.
I don't think
we were just like, how unfair is that to bring this child into our life and then break his home up immediately like that? Like, that's not fair. So that, I think, was the glue that kept us together. Right. Really, our kids for a long time was the glue, just building this family and saying, no, we said we're going to do better than our parents. We're not going to give these kids a broken home. So whether it's this, that, or the other, these kids are going to have both parents in their life, and we're going to do the best that we can. And we stuck to that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So how old were we? We were like 22. I was 22.
You were 22, and I was going on 23.
Yeah. So 22, we adopted our first child, Lord Jesus, and he talked so much, and he still talks so much to this day. Yes. So then, after that, what? We're just like, hey, we got a kid, we're being parents, we're living this life.
It was going good. And we were doing, everything. Halloween.
We had a family. The birthday parties were, sleepovers. We get to participate in the parenting stuff now. So then we're like,
what's next?
He needs a brother. He needs a sibling.
Yeah. Then after that, did we get a call or they?
I think they called us. Them? They called us about a 13-year-old.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
About that one.
Yeah, they called us.
I did forget about that one.
Yeah, and so we were like, 13. I'm only 22. I'm not a teenager. I'm not ready for that. But we never know what God has meant for us to do. So we're like, hey, we can go and meet this young man at this point, literally, and just talk to him and get a feel for him. And we did, and he was nice. He
loved some Janet Jackson.
Yeah, but he was 13, and we had initially agreed to take him, but then I don't know. I'm like, oh, he's 13. I'm not ready for that. Like, we just have this 5-year-old. We skipped all the baby pipe. We skipped everything. We have this 5-year-old, and now we're going to jump to a 13-year-old. And so I got a little scared, and I always felt bad about that.
I felt bad about it too, because it felt like we just let the young man down. And just, probably made him feel like
he wasn't
wanted.
I hoped he found a home.
I hope so.
Yeah,
but he might have.
But then we got another phone call about 2 little ones, and I remember them sending their information and their pictures, and they were so cute. They were little. They were 1 and 2 years old. And we were like, oh my God, of course, that's probably as close to babies as we're going to get. It was a little boy and his little sister. And we're like, hey, we'll be done. 2 boys and a girl. That was my household. 2 boys and a girl. Let's do it. So we submitted our home study. And then we didn't hear anything. It was
like some months.
It was like a year.
Was it a year?
Because they were 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, because when they did come home,
it was so long that we forgot. We just assumed that we just weren't chosen.
Right.
It was like a year before we heard something, so we get another phone call, and they're like, "Congratulations, you all were chosen for." The only reason I remembered who they were is because the little boy had a name I had never heard before, and I was like, "Really?" And I told my husband, "I'm like, oh my God." Because again, we forgot. So by this time, they're 2 going on 3 going on 4. But so we started our visitation, and the first time we visited, did we get to take them out that day?
We took them out and went to the mall.
We were in Crown Point.
Yep.
And from the get-go, the very first time she just started calling me mommy. I was like, oh my God.
Your heart melted. I'm driving. All I can do is just look over at you and like.
She called me mom.
Don't you start crying.
She knows who I am.
Don't you start crying.
God showed me to her.
I was like, don't you start crying, because you had the biggest smile.
Because it was mommy all day.
And then you tried to put it in my face. Yeah, she called me mommy.
The very first time I met her, I was like, oh my gosh. And mind you, I don't even know why, because I had always said I wanted all boys. I couldn't even think about wanting a daughter because I'm thinking of myself. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. But it turns out my daughter is exactly what I needed. Lord Jesus, but that's another conversation. But so, and their adoption went really quick. It was like within 6 months.
6 months.
It was very quick.
I was thinking about it being 6 months.
So
I knew it did take a while.
Yeah. So here we are, 3 kids, 2 boys. We even got a little girl. We're good. We're done. No. We get another phone call. It was like a couple months after their adoption was complete. It was really quick.
Yeah.
So their biological mother had a baby. And so by the time we found out about him, he was 5 months old. And they was like, well, you two have the last youngest siblings. So if you want him, we won't even go through the process. He's yours. And we're like, a baby? Of course. Well, I was like, a baby? Of course.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. I was happy about it, but I was
4
thinking
kids?
like changing diapers.
4 kids, though?
Baby food.
4 kids, though. Like, we went from 1 to 3 to 4 within like a year and a half, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we start our visitation with him. And my first thought, please forgive me, but I was like, oh, their baby is not cute. When I first saw him, I was like, that is not a cute baby. That's so bad. I'm sorry. He is my precious little one. And his little square little cheeks just, oh my God, he was just the cutest little thing once he kind of grew into his little features. He's just a cute. Anyway, so we started our visitation with him. I know, it's so bad.
Meanie.
But, of course, he was my little heart. He was my baby. I got a little baby. And we started our visitations and we could have overnights. It was always so hard to take him back. And we have to wait a few days or a week to get him. And so when he finally came home, it was just perfect. It was so perfect. We had his little room set up with Pooh Bear and it was just perfect. We had our 2 oldest were in preschool and regular school. And then I had a toddler and a baby at home, and I was still babysitting. I was, I always babysit, but so I
went to every field trip.
Yeah, he was the field trip parent. I didn't do that. I'm like, nope, I get enough of them at home. So every field trip, nope, they got a field trip coming up. Get the time off, whatever you need to do, you gotta go. You're going. But anyways,
I'm glad I did though.
Yeah, but anyways, so now we have 4 kids.
3 boys, 1 girl.
And we're done. Like, I know we said 10, but yeah, we don't really need 10 kids. But
lo and behold,
what happens? No, this time we didn't get a phone call. Our crazy tales make a phone call. We're talking one night and we're like, she needs a sister. She needed a sister because that
3
little
boys,
girl.
Yeah.
She needed a sister. She needed to learn how to share. Like, no, she needs a sister. So we make the phone call and say, hey, we're interested in a little girl. This, that, and the other. They're like, oh, great. Well, we'll take a look and we'll let you know. So then we get a phone call. And they're like, hey, I know you guys said you want a little girl, and I'm like, but we have this little boy. He's been in a facility since he was born. We really, really want him to have a home before he turns 2. So there's this little 1-year-old little boy. And I'm like, a boy? I think we got enough of those. But, hey, he's little. Let's go see him. So we drive to East Chicago, I think it was. Mm-hmm. We drive to the facility. We took our youngest with us. And so we're waiting in there. So they bring this little boy in, and now, I'm like,
wait. Now, because before that, he's a little shy.
Oh yeah.
He's a little shy, but he will bring him out anyway. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think that's why I asked to bring the younger one so he could have somebody to play or whatever to make him warm up.
So everybody say I have a look on my face.
I mean look.
Yeah. So
I mean dad look all the time. If
Yeah.
he's not looking sleepy, he looking mean.
Yeah, that's true. I need to change that, but I'm working on that. I'm a work in process. And so we get there, we waiting. They bring him out.
I said,
He
that's
had
our
to
kid.
say- he
No, don't
had-
even say it. When they first brought, I said, that's our kid. That's our kid. That's our son. That's him. That's him. Because they brought him in and what?
He had the same look that I had.
Mean little look.
Mean little look on his face.
I mean, a
he
mean
was-
little look.
And I fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my boy.
The same complexion.
This is my boy.
Mean little face. I'm like, yep, that's our kid.
That's
We
our
couldn't even. You know how they're like, man, you couldn't deny him. We couldn't deny
I
him.
couldn't deny it.
This is a child that didn't even come from us genetically. We couldn't deny. It's like the first one. Couldn't deny him.
Couldn't
Like
deny
that's
him.
our kid. So
I mean, and then while we in there, we playing, and everything, and he's still keeping the mean look on his face.
no emotion.
But then when he go around the desk, or
Well, we couldn't see him.
where we couldn't see him, he over there just laughing and giggling and smiling and everything. And the lady go tell us she was like, he's smiling right now.
Yeah, she was like, I don't want you guys to get discouraged. She said, but because I know he's not really giving you a lot. She said, but every time he turns a corner where you guys can't see him, he's got the biggest smile on his face. I was like, really? Because we were kind of thinking like, okay, maybe this isn't our kid because he's not warming up to us.
He wasn't warming up at all.
And when did he warm up to us?
When he got to playing with Saya.
I mean, to us though.
Oh.
It was one time we went and we were outside playing.
Yeah, and I
he
think
started
it was the
laughing.
second or third visit that we did.
Yeah, he started laughing and he was playing. So it's like, okay. So we we bring him home now. Mind you, we had this, I don't know if you call it tradition, where we would just bring our kids home and we would just family sleep together and just like, just hold my kids. And so when we brought him home, but kids are wild, so I'm like, nope, we're not doing that with him. Excuse me. So when we brought him home, I was like, nope, we're going to start him off in his own bed, and I'll just climb in the bed with him. I was like, that's not going to work either, because when I would try to sleep with him and just stay in the bed when and get up, when I thought he was asleep, he would like clench me so tight, and I'm like, okay, I'm being held hostage here. Like, he would be just sleep, but he would feel me move, and he would just like clench me so tight. And I'm like,
know he didn't want you to.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a process to get him by himself. But of course, eventually, he got used to sleeping by himself. But it was still sweet to just have him hold me and be like, don't leave me. It was so sweet. But so at this time, count them up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We got 5 kids.
Within a 3 to 4 year period.
And mind you, all that stuff we talked about in our previous video, we were still going through. My insecurities, us trying to decide if we should be together, stay together, and we're adding to our family again. Why are you doing that? Why did we do that? We just couldn't explain. It's almost like we knew how to do family, because I think we did family fairly well. Mm-hmm. Like we did family gatherings, family dinners. Like you said, you went to the field trips. We were always at their schools. I think we did family good. It was just that marriage part at the end of the day that we just couldn't get it together.
Get it right.
We couldn't get it together, but our kids never seen it. We never argued in front of them. We never spoke ill to each other in front of. We just never did that. So they never seen that part. All they knew is mom and dad. They together. Yes, they're together. So we did family okay, but yeah, that marriage thing. Now we're married with kids. Why are we doing this?
Married with Children.
But
it's a good TV show.
Yeah, but I mean, our kids, they became our glue that kept us for a long time.
Yeah. Because
I still had a lot of doubts in who I was and where I, was in the marriage and stuff. And I don't know, they became a reason.
to still be
to make it work.
Make it work and
to make together. It work. Make it work for them. But yeah, that is our path to parenthood. Just navigating it when they were little, we managed. I think as they got older, I think we hit it less and less. We didn't hide it as much as they got older, because I'm like, look, they old enough, they'll understand, they'll get over it. They know we love them. They know I love them. They know you love them. If we don't work out, whatever, they'll still have both of us. That's never going to be a doubt.
Right.
So as they got older, I think that I would show a little bit more of my emotional side. And then just raising them. And as they got older in the teenage years, God, we done been through some stuff.
Yeah.
Whoo, these childrens. I don't even know what else to say, these childrens. But we love them. We still here. We still are connected, and we will be for the rest of our lives. Thankful to the Lord for the path to parenthood that we had. It just showed me that it helped me to see that love is definitely infinite, and you can make as much of it as you need. And the ability, I don't even want to say like it's anything special, because people, when they find out we adopted our kids, they always act like we did something special or something like, so like, you guys are such good people. Like, it's like, thank you, but
they still
we just look at it, that's just was our path to parenthood. Right. Like, every time we got chosen to be a family for each one of our kids, it just clicked. No, my kids need to come home. Yeah. Like, I would extend my heart immediately. That's my child. I'm their mother. My child needs to come home. So it was just our path. It doesn't feel like we did anything extraordinary or special or anything like that. It was just our path. And I'm grateful to God for giving us the sign and answering the sign and going forth the way that we did. Our kids, they take us through things. Heck, we took our parents through stuff, and their kids gonna take them through stuff. It's life. We love them. You always want the best for them. You want to set the best example. And I think even for our marriage, as we talked in the last video, was that legacy thing of continuing that. Continuing the love, continue building. And now that they're grown, we can all build together. And for their children, like, we can still teach them. We're still influential to them. They still look to us and at us. So there's still a lot we could teach them. As long as we are walking this earth, there's still a lot that we can teach them. And vice versa, that we can learn from them. I
learned some stuff from the kids.
I learned stuff from them all the time.
I learned stuff from them, and I never thought that I would. Or, I don't know if I can,
But that's kind of where we come, we come for a time where a child stay in a child's place, and I'm all for that. I, respect. But when these children, they grow up and they're getting into their adulthood, I say the way we grew up, in the world we grew up in, it's not there. This new world, I need their help to help navigate a lot of stuff. This platform comes from one of my little cousins. I would not be on this level, tech wise, or just being this consistent if I didn't have his help to show me. I'm his employer, as he said, but he's my boss. But
that's kind of backwards, but yeah.
But it's true. But I love that I'm open to learn from them. I think sometimes the bridges between our generation and our parents' generation, they get burned because, we were taught to, you just do what I say. And that I'm older than you. I'm always going to know more than you, type of mentality. But I love the fact that I can build this bridge with the generation after me, because I need you.
Yeah. And I think that's where my problem was, being, able to learn from them and get from them, because
not being able to, or
not being able to,
okay.
because I was always thinking, oh, I got to be this iron fist, I got to do this, I got to discipline, and not listen. Listen. You know, so I
mean, parenting, we all know it don't matter how you become a parent. There's no rule book.
Mm-mm.
We really, all we can do is do the best we can with what we have, and strive to do better if we can. Right. You know, we always have room to do better. I know we didn't do everything perfect. I know my kids got, you know, some childhood hurts. I mean, that, you know, we've learned, and we're you know, dealing with some things, but I'm grateful that we have a relationship that we can work through those things, and they're not left alone. They're not feeling like, I can't ever tell y'all that.
Right.
I can, you know, because I was raised like that. We were raised like that. Keep your mouth shut. No, I need you tell me whatever it is, right. You know, so we can, you know,
get this,
go through it and heal from it, and, you know, continue our family. I just never want my family to fall apart over something that they think they can't say or reveal or whatever. But so, yeah, we've been navigating this parenthood thing up to this point. And, you know, the last one just turned 18, and he's about to go to college, and he's starting his adult journey. And so now we're like, what are we going to do? What are we doing here?
We trying to figure that out. Wow. I know I'm trying to figure it out. I know you already got plans, or, you know, thoughts.
I have a bunch of thoughts and ideas.
But I'm still like,
scratching his head, literally.
Yeah, just try to figure it out. I'm not sure exactly. You know, I'm still a workaholic. I don't feel like I'm me.
If you're not
sometimes working. If I'm not working.
Yeah, but you always wanted to work for yourself.
Yeah, and I know.
And I know when you do that, you'll still be a workaholic. But, you know, I always tell you, you know, when you start this thing, you gotta work even harder than you ever worked before.
Right.
So, you know, being mentally prepared for that, physically prepared for that. You know, we've been talking about getting our health in order together, like taking those steps together to really, really support each other. And that is what I'm looking for in this next stage of life, is us together, like really having our marriage, not based on kids, not based on, you know, trying to prove anything, but just us. Just us. Just us. Like, you are my life partner for the rest of my life. So everything that I want to do in my life from here on out, I want to do an experience with you.
Okay. Just like I knew from the beginning, you know, from the first show, that you were
I'm your person?
Yeah, you are my person.
But I'm a cute person too.
Yes, you are.
Oh, you hesitated.
I didn't hesitate. I was breathing. I had to get that. Extra.
You was breathing?
Yeah.
You so fried.
So I had to get that, you know, I had to get that breath out to make sure I say, yes, you are my heart, my sunshine, my joy.
See the corniness?
See?
So fried. Always telling me fried.
Yeah, and I don't like it all the time either.
And I always say it.
Yeah. I think you do it just to get at me.
I do. But, yeah. Married with kids. We survived. You know, we're here. Now it's all about just me
us
and you.
And maybe sometimes the grandbaby.
Oh, yeah. That's our bookie, like.
Yeah, that's Pop's baby. That's my baby.
Yeah, she is, because she's mean. She's a mean old baby. So it makes sense that she's your baby. That makes sense.
How you figure that?
Because she's a mean old baby.
She ain't, well,
she may not be mean to you.
Be mean. Yeah,
she's a mean old baby. I love my bookie. But she's a mean old baby. She's so mean. She is something else, but y'all look out for that one. I'm telling you. I just say you're a little thing with all this big personality, so you got something big to bring into this world. So part of that legacy is building for her and making sure she has what she needs, the drive and the support to do all of that.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and put her interview on too.
I did. I've shared that.
Yeah, because
she's something else.
She is a character.
She is something else. But I'm gonna cut it here. I'm glad you came on. I know you'll be back.
Come on, where I'm going?
I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Where am I going?
I don't know.
All right.
But I'm going to cut it here. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, and leave us some comments or some questions or whatnot. And I will add in this video, as we shared our story about our path to parenthood, I would love to get another person's perspective on their path to parenthood. If you face any type of difficulties or obstacles, I'll say, I would love to get your story and your perspective, because I've experienced a lot of times with having fertility issues that there's no one in my immediate circle that I can really talk to that understands what I'm going through. Even though I am a parent, my path to parenthood has just been different from everybody around me. So if you are interested to come on here and share your story, and I would love to have you. So leave me a comment, message me or whatnot, but I'm going to cut it here, and you guys have an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed this. Hey Queens, welcome back. This is part 2. YG, start over. I hate when I do that.